Spotlight.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on the President's address to the nation on the eve of Independence Day. The participants are Vinay, Kumar, political analyst, and Rajesh, Leikh, anchor.
On the eve of the 79th Independence Day, the tricolour flutters proudly in every heart and home. This is not just celebration of freedom, but also a moment to remember our journey from the dawn of independence to the vibrant democracy we are today. Join us as we reflect on the inspiring journey of India through words of the President of India. With me is Vinay Kumar, political analyst. A warm welcome to Akashvani.
Thank you.
Vinay, how does the President's emphasis on justice, liberty, equality and fraternity reflect in recent governance and legislation? And what challenges does India face in upholding these constitutional values today?
Yeah, Rajesh, if you see President's customary address on the eve of the 79th Independence Day, I would say that it's a very broad view and a very practical view which she has taken, and the kind of guidance which she has given in her speech, and the stress which she has made on several aspects. And you started with Constitution. She has touched upon many other important topics and subjects which are exercising the minds of citizens in today's times. But talking about constitutional values, she in fact, in the beginning of her address, she harped upon that. And if you recall, over the past 1.5 years since Lok Sabha elections were held in 2024, opposition had made this a big issue, the constitutional values, and opposition leaders were having copies of constitution in their campaign. So she has very rightly stressed upon that the constitution has these 4 values: justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. But most importantly, she said that every human being is equal and everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. I think that is the underlying message.
The crux of the message.
The crux of the message is this. And coming from the head of the state, it carries more weight.
Moving to what she said about the economic achievements, the President highlighted India's current economic milestones.
In the economic field, our achievements are all the more noticeable. With a GDP growth rate of 6.5% in the last fiscal, India is the fastest growing among the major economies in the world. Even amid stress in the global economy, demand at home is pacing ahead. Inflation has remained under control. Exports are rising. All key indicators show the economy in the peak of health.
What sectors have contributed most prominently to this growth, and how are these achievements impacting the lives of ordinary citizens?
If we again keep this economic progress in context, you have seen the statements by our Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, how our economic progress is being clocked world over in various sectors. So we are racing to become the 3rd largest economy in the world. And it is in this context and the continuing tariff war from the US President Donald Trump that President has rightly stressed that our achievements are more noticeable now. And our GDP growth is projected at the annual rate of 6.5% in the last fiscal. And moreover, the projection is like that only. And she even talked about demand at home and the inflation. And if we see in July last month, the retail inflation was at its lowest over the past 8 years, 1.55%. So that puts it in context that reforms, she talked about reforms and policies which have helped economic growth in the country in various sectors. Exports are rising and all key indicators show that the economy is in the pink of
macro indicators.
Macro indicators, yeah. She has not gone into the micro details and all that. Because as head of the state, she has to give a vision, the guidance to the nation and to the citizens.
The President also mentioned about good governance and welfare initiatives that have been undertaken. So are there any, according to you, recent welfare initiatives that she's harped upon and referenced in her speech, and how have they improved governance? How is good governance being measured and ensured under current policies?
in her speech also, she has mentioned two indicators. And I think I would also say that these are the, as you said, what are the indicators of improvement in society and their economic upliftment. One is inclusivity in financial sector. So we now have 55 crore accounts in Jan Dhan scheme, which the Prime Minister had launched when their BJP's government came into being in 2014. Then Ayushman Bharat also, now the government has said that 70 years and above, all citizens will be covered under Ayushman Bharat. So health is a very good indicator, and financial inclusion. This is another indicator. And she also talked about the marginalized sections, how they have benefited from DBT, direct benefit transfer in their schemes. So the leakage is not there, and the benefits of government schemes are reaching to the marginalized sections right at their doorstep.
In her address, the President emphasized on the importance of cities and urban infrastructure.
The country is rapidly urbanizing, hence the government has been paying special attention to improve the conditions of the cities. Addressing the key area of urban transport, the government has expanded metro rail facilities. The number of cities with a metro rail service has gone up multifold in a decade. The Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, or AMRUT, has ensured more and more households have access to a tap with the assured supply of water and a storage connection.
So infrastructure sector also came up in her speech today, and she also elaborated upon the never do, never die attitude of the people of India who have made things possible. Would you like to touch upon that?
She also touched upon infrastructure in 2-3 sectors, railways and highways, which have expanded very rapidly over the past decade or so, and particularly the railway network, because for the first time in Indian Railways history, we have railways going to the valley of Kashmir. So Jammu Kashmir connectivity is a big indicator of how our railway network has expanded. And another major development is the metro network. If you recall, Prime Minister had gone to Bangalore to inaugurate that metro network, and there he also pointed out that India now has the third largest metro network in the world. So the way metro network has come up in the country, the highways and the railway network. So I think these are the three major indicators, and she has also touched upon these infrastructure projects.
A very important sector that she talked about was the digital age, the artificial intelligence and India AI mission. What do you have to say about that?
Digital age is here to stay, we all know, and we have to develop very fast if we have to keep pace with the developed world. And she pointed out in her address that nearly all villages now have 4G mobile connectivity, and the remaining few thousands will be covered soon. So it points to in a short span, India is becoming a world leader in digital technologies. And moreover, these DBT we talked about, and these benefits which reach the beneficiaries without any leakage or glitch. But the most noticeable thing is the half of the total number of digital transactions in the world take place in India. Then the artificial intelligence also you talked about, and she has also touched upon that, because India has aspirations to become global AI hub by 2047.
The President spoke about Amrit Kal and India's path to becoming a developed economy by 2047. How is this vision being concretely translated into policy?
For that to happen, we have several vehicles which will take us there. One is our economic growth. The next is our national education policy, which has been unveiled recently. Then our conducive ecosystem and the stress upon young minds, taking them forward. And she also cited the example of space mission, where our from Air Force Shubhanshu Shukla made the space journey to International Space Station. And it will be very helpful for India's upcoming human space flight program, Gaganyaan. So I think these are major leaps forward, which take India to a league of nations where only a select few can boast of these developments.
Why did the President, Vinay, signal out youth, women and communities as the key leadership groups for the future of our nation?
if our marginalized sections don't benefit from government programs, then this progress and development has no meaning. So President rightly pointed out towards even to the sports where we have 19-year-old Divya Deshmukh, the new FIDE World Chess Champion, and two of the women were finalists. And Divya, although President did not name her, Divya Deshmukh of Nagpur. So this shows that how women have become partners in progress and how they are achieving. They are marching on to the fields where, she referred to the Nari Shakti Vandan Abhiyan, which has made women very active in various fields.
Vinay, the President also made a special mention to our armed forces and in reference to Operation Sindoor.
This year we had to face the scourge of terrorism. Killing innocent citizens on holiday in Kashmir was cowardly and utterly inhuman. India responded in a decisive manner and with steely resolve. Operation Sindoor showed that our armed forces are prepared to meet any eventuality when it comes to guarding the nation. With strategic clarity and technical capability, they destroyed terrorist hubs across the border. I believe Operation Sindoor will go down in history as an example in humanity's fight against terrorism.
Vinay, what do you have to say about that?
Her pointed reference was to the terrorism, the menace of terrorism from across the border, and Operation Sindoor was launched with strategic clarity and precision strikes to destroy the terror hubs across the border. And she also touched upon Operation Sindoor, which will go down in history as an example in humanity's fight against terrorism. And we all know that how our unity was on display. And she also touched upon delegations of MPs which the government had sent out to various nations to explain India's position on that. So we know that how terrorism is affecting not only India but several other parts of the world. And India's response to whatever happened in Pahalgam, 26 innocent civilians were killed in a very brutal terror attack. So her reference and her stress on this is, I think, very important.
What noteworthy, Vinay, is the fact that she mentioned Operation Sindoor as a test case of Atmanirbhar Bharat mission.
Because we saw how indigenous defense capabilities were on display and how the weapons and the arms and ammunition produced in our own country, how well it performed during Operation Sindoor, and the strikes which our Indian Air Force was able to conduct were a shining example of that only, that our defense industry has come of age and indigenous capabilities have actually risen.
Well, I would like you to touch upon the protection of the environment that the President talked about. What do you think this recent environmental policies or successes that have been referenced by her address this issue of environment?
Yeah, very briefly, her message was that if we want to, meet the challenges of climate change, we must also change. So her brief message was, we must change our habits and our worldview. We must change our relationship with our land, rivers and mountains. And we have seen how Europe is sizzling under, 40 degrees plus temperatures and how we are seeing natural calamities in our Himalayan states. So all this points out to the climate change slowly creeping in without us realizing what are the dangers. And so I think the President's guiding words on this topic should go a long way in reminding us of our duties.
As we step into the 80th year of our freedom, let us remember the President's call to honor the sacrifices of our freedom fighters, not only with our words, but with our deeds. On that note, Vinay, we would like to thank you for being with Akashvani.
Thank you very much.
You were listening to a discussion on the President's address to the nation on the eve of Independence Day. The participants were Vinay Kumar, political analyst, and Rajesh Leikh, anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928-909-4044.
Spotlight.